I place the sticky note on Natalie's tea lid with the same precision I use for everything else. You've got this. The words feel hollow this morning, but routine is sacred. Dad taught me that love isn't fireworks. It's showing up every day with steady hands. The kitchen gleams around me, every surface wiped clean, labeled containers lined up like soldiers. 2 coffee mugs sit ready on the granite counter, mine gray and chipped from college, hers white with gold trim that catches the morning light. I've measured the coffee beans exactly. 4 scoops for me, 3 for her. She likes it weaker now. Natalie walks in 20 minutes late, still pulling her blazer straight. Her face carries that blank expression I've been seeing more often, the one that means she's already somewhere else, handling cases I'll never understand, fighting battles in boardrooms where I don't belong. "Morning," she says, not meeting my eyes. Her phone buzzes immediately. She glances at it, frowns, then looks at me like she's trying to remember who I am. "Tea's ready." I slide the cup toward her. "And I made your lunch. Turkey and avocado." She nods, distracted. Another buzz. This time she picks up the phone. The dry erase calendar on the refrigerator mocks me with its color-coded perfection. Blue for my work meetings, red for hers, green for our shared appointments. Every Friday still says the same thing in my careful handwriting. Brunch, Ethan and Nat. When was the last time we actually went? I watch her scroll through emails while sipping tea I prepared. The woman who used to tell me about her cases, who'd curl up next to me on Sunday mornings reading legal briefs aloud in funny voices. Now she's a stranger borrowing my kitchen. "Client prep tonight," she says without looking up. "Might be late." It's the 3rd time this week. I want to ask which client, what case, but I've learned that questions make her shoulders tense. So I nod and check off another day where we'll occupy the same house but different worlds. Last month, I surprised her with dinner reservations at Bottega del Mare for our 7th anniversary. Spent weeks planning it, the restaurant where we had our first real date, where she laughed so hard at my terrible Italian accent that wine came out her nose. I even called ahead to request the same table. At 6 o'clock, my phone rang. "Emergency meeting. Client's having a meltdown. I'm so sorry, babe." I ate alone at our anniversary table while the waiter quietly boxed up the creme brulee I'd pre-ordered. Brought it home and left it in the fridge with a post-it note. Still sweet. She never touched it. The memory stings as I watch her gather her things. Briefcase, phone, keys. The same ritual every morning, but she moves like she's escaping rather than leaving. I remember when Dad was dying, how Natalie held his hand in that sterile hospice room, whispering stories about our future kids, our dream house, the vacations we'd take. She cried harder than I did when the machines went quiet. She understood what I was losing. "I need to talk to you about something," she says suddenly, setting down her cup with a clink that sounds too loud. My chest tightens. "What's wrong?" "It's Mom. Carol." Her voice drops to that careful tone she uses with difficult clients. "The cancer's back. Worse this time. She needs round-the-clock care." The words hit like cold water. Carol Jenkins, strong, stubborn Carol who beat breast cancer 3 years ago and celebrated by learning to salsa dance. Carol who sends me birthday cards with handwritten recipes and always asks when we're giving her grandchildren. "How bad?" I ask. "Bad." Natalie's eyes dart away. "I need to go help. It might be a while." Something dark curls in my chest, but I push it down. This is grief talking, not suspicion. Carol practically raised Natalie after her father died. Of course she'd drop everything. "Of course. Whatever you need. I'll hold things down here." But that night, when Natalie's supposedly at the hospital, I call Carol's number, straight to voicemail. I text her directly. "Thinking of you. Let me know if you need anything." No response. "Bad reception at the hospital," Natalie explains when I mention it. "You know how those places are." I nod, but something cold has taken root behind my ribs. Something that whispers Carol Jenkins has never been one to ignore a text message in her life. On day 12 of Natalie's supposed vigil, I'm organizing bills on the kitchen counter when her iPad chimes. We share an Apple ID, one of those married couple conveniences that seemed sweet when we set it up. Her messages sync automatically. The notification banner appears at the top of the screen. Last night was everything. Same place tomorrow? My hands freeze. The electric bill crinkles between my fingers. Natalie walks in from the shower, hair wrapped in a towel, and sees me staring at the device. "Spam," she says with a laugh, snatching the iPad away. "You wouldn't believe the weird messages I get. Probably some bot that got my number." She deletes the message with theatrical flourish, still smiling. Technology, right? I nod slowly, my pulse hammering against my throat. Right. That night, after she's asleep, or pretending to be, I Google private investigator domestic surveillance with shaking hands. Dale Whitman's website promises discreet professional investigation services. His photo shows a middle-aged man with kind eyes and a no-nonsense expression. The tagline reads, "Truth is always better than doubt." I hire him with our savings account. $2,000 to confirm what I pray I'm wrong about. Dale emails me 48 hours later. The subject line is simply, "Report, confidential." I open it in my locked office, hands trembling. Carol Jenkins is healthy. The attached video shows her in her backyard, hosting what appears to be a knitting circle. She's laughing, animated, very much alive and cancer-free. Natalie checked into the Lenox Suites downtown under the name Laura Finch. The photos that follow make my vision blur. Red lingerie, a man's hands on her waist. Both of them entering room 1408, her head thrown back in laughter I haven't heard in months. The audio recording is worse. Her voice, breathless. He has no idea. Thinks I'm at some depressing hospital. It's almost cute how trusting he is. While she said those words, she texted me. "She's coughing blood tonight. I'm scared, babe. This is so hard." I sit in my chair, staring at the screen until the words blur together. The betrayal doesn't feel like a knife. It feels like drowning in a room I thought was safe. Every memory reshapes itself. Every kind gesture becomes evidence of my stupidity. I find our wedding vows on my phone, the ones she wrote about building a life of honesty and trust. Delete them without reading past the first line. When Miles calls to check in, I tell him I'm just overworked. He doesn't believe me. I can hear it in his voice. But I can't explain that my wife is building a fantasy life on the grave of her mother's fictional death. That night, I create a new folder on my desktop, The Truth Archive, Natalie. I copy everything Dale sent me onto a USB drive, label it carefully, in case I ever forget. Because someday, when the shock wears off and I'm tempted to forgive, to rationalize, to believe her inevitable explanations, I want proof of this moment. Proof of how completely she erased me from her conscience while texting about cancer and fear. I open my journal and write, "She created a false deathbed. I'm building a real one. For us." If she built her lie with precision, I'll burn it with the same care. I back up Dale's files onto 3 separate drives, storing them in different locations like a man preparing for war. One in my office safe, one in a safety deposit box, one mailed to my sister with instructions not to open unless something happens to me. The drive to Carol's house feels surreal. I know every turn. We've made this trip dozens of times for birthdays, holidays, Sunday dinners. But today I'm carrying evidence that will shatter an old woman's world. Carol opens the door with a smile that dies when she sees my face. "Ethan? What's wrong? Is Natalie—" I hand her my laptop without words. Press play on the video of her knitting circle, dated yesterday. Watch her face crumble as the truth settles in. "She told everyone you were dying," I say quietly. "Took bereavement leave from work. Played the grieving daughter while she played house with another man. Carol's hands shake as she covers her mouth. Oh, God. Oh, Ethan. I'm so sorry. I had no idea. You'll be the first to know when it drops, I tell her, closing the laptop. I wanted you to hear it from me. Lisa Romero's law office intimidates clients by design. Marble floors, floor-to-ceiling law books, diplomas covering every wall. She specializes in high-stakes divorces, the kind where fortunes and reputations hang in the balance. Fraud and infidelity, she says, reviewing my evidence. The bereavement leave makes it criminal. Her firm will have to report this to the state bar. Good. We spend 2 hours building my case. Cancel joint credit cards. I send Natalie a polite email about housekeeping that she won't question. Transfer the house deed into a personal trust, effectively locking her out post-filing. Catalog assets, secure accounts, prepare for war. The anonymous email to Natalie's firm takes me an hour to craft. Subject line, not dead, not sorry. I attach Carol's video, screenshots of Natalie's fake texts, footage of her entering the hotel in red lingerie while claiming to comfort a dying mother. Let her explain that to the ethics board. Memory ambushes me as I work. Natalie at the museum last year, studying a painting with such intensity. She looked beautiful in that moment, lost in thought, her face soft with wonder. I kept that photo on my phone for months. Now I delete it, but not before backing it up. I'll need it for the final message. Natalie calls unexpectedly while I'm addressing the ethics board email. Hey babe, Mom's having a rough night. I might need to extend my stay a few more days. Her voice carries just the right note of exhaustion, worry. If I didn't know better, I'd believe every word. Of course, I say, my own voice steady. Take all the time you need. I'll hold things down here. You're the best. I love you. The line goes dead. I stare at my phone, then laugh, a sound like breaking glass in the empty house. In my garage, I write 5 names on the whiteboard usually reserved for grocery lists. Carol, Lisa, HR, Mercer, group chat. Each one represents a pillar of the life she built on lies. By the time I'm done, none of them will be standing. The group message to the Jenkins family WhatsApp chat begins innocently enough. Update on Carol. Then come the attachments. Photos of Natalie in lingerie entering hotel rooms. Screenshots of her fake texts about cancer and hospitals. Audio of her laughing about my gullibility. Carol's video, alive and healthy, confused about why I'm asking about cancer relapses. The final line, divorce papers served today. This is the last time you'll hear from me. My phone explodes immediately. The Jenkins family chat turns into a wildfire of rage and disbelief. Sister number 1, you lied to all of us? About Mom dying? Sister number 2, I took time off work to pray for her. What is wrong with you? Cousin Jenny, you faked cancer? Our grandmother died of cancer, Natalie. How could you? Carol herself types slowly, each word a nail in Natalie's coffin. She never visited me. I'm alive and ashamed. Lisa Romero timed the divorce paper service to coincide with the group chat's detonation. The courier finds Natalie outside the Lennox Suites, still in her heels and coat, checking her phone in horror as her family disintegrates around her. She opens the envelope standing on the sidewalk. I picture her face as the words, "Petition for dissolution of marriage," swim into focus. The law firm moves faster than I expected. Wells, Gibbons, and Travers suspends her within hours of receiving the ethics board complaint. Her access badge stops working. Her profile disappears from the company website. Her business cards become expensive confetti. The state bar complaint follows the same evidence trail. Fraud, ethics violations, abuse of bereavement leave. The kind of professional death that makes headlines in legal journals. Dale's research identifies her affair partner as David Mercer, VP of Acquisitions at Wellsbrook Finance, married father of 2, wife named Patricia, kids in private school, the kind of man who destroys families for sport. His HR department receives an anonymous folder 48 hours later. Subject: Employee inappropriate conduct, legal risk. Inside, photos, hotel receipts, evidence of extended affairs conducted during work hours. David Mercer cleans out his desk on Thursday morning. Reputation liability, the termination letter reads, effective immediately. Natalie's email arrives that evening. Subject line: Please. I was numb, Ethan, dead inside. I needed to feel alive again. It wasn't about you. It was never about you. I love you. I've always loved you. Please don't do this. I read it twice, then typed my response. Goodbye. Send. Block her email address. Delete her contact information. Change the locks. Natalie Jenkins crashes on her co-worker Leah's basement couch with a single suitcase and a phone full of blocked numbers. Her Instagram account, @LegallyNatalie, with its carefully curated shots of courtroom victories and inspirational quotes, disappears after hundreds of comments calling her a fraud, a liar, a cancer faker. I packed the last of her belongings methodically. Books sorted by subject, clothes folded with military precision, jewelry separated by type. Each box labeled clearly, return if requested. Probably won't be. She probably won't. The jogging path around Riverside Park feels different now. Lighter. I run the same route we used to walk together, past the bench where she'd sit reading briefs while I stretched. But the memories don't sting anymore. They feel like stories about different people. My sister Marianne notices the change immediately when I visit. You look... She pauses, studying my face while her daughter Sophie builds castles with Legos. Peaceful. I am. What happened with Natalie? You haven't mentioned her in weeks. So I tell her. Everything. The fake cancer, the affair, the systematic destruction of a life built on lies. Marianne listens without judgment, occasionally gasping, her hands covering her mouth. Jesus, Ethan, I'm so sorry. Don't be. I'm not. Sophie tugs my sleeve, wanting help with her castle. I spend the afternoon building towers with steady hands, teaching her about foundations and how to make things that last. Natalie's parents send a formal letter on elegant stationery. Regretfully yours, Harold and Joan Jenkins. An apology for their daughter's behavior, an offer to mediate, a plea for mercy. I don't bother reading past the first paragraph. I feed it to the shredder. David Mercer posts vague inspirational quotes on LinkedIn about betrayal and rising above adversity. I block him before he can finish rebuilding his image. The house transforms around me. Not lonely, clean. I take up woodworking again, building a new dining table to replace the one where we shared so many silent meals. This one is smaller, simpler, built for honest conversation. I write new rhythms into the house calendar. Solo brunches at cafes where no one knows my story. Therapy appointments that actually help. Free days, where the only plan is having no plan. Natalie's spare keys go into a padded envelope that I address to the hotel where she built her fantasy. Then I shred the envelope instead of mailing it. Even my revenge has limits. At night I meditate for the first time in years. Light a candle, watch the flame dance, whisper the words that seal this chapter. It's over. The house feels different. Not empty. Whole. 6 months later, I book room 1408 at the Lenox Suites, the same room where Natalie rewrote our love story, where she learned to be someone else while texting me about fictional hospitals and fake tears. The desk clerk probably remembers me from the photos Dale took, but she processes my payment with professional indifference. The room feels smaller than I imagined. Ordinary. A bed, a window, a view of the city that continues its million stories regardless of our small tragedy. I pour myself a glass of Merlot, the same brand she drank while lying about her mother's death, and sit by the window. The city sparkles below, lights blinking like heartbeats, each one representing someone's truth or someone's lie. My leather journal opens to a fresh page. I write the final entry of this chapter. She made love while pretending to cry. I grieved the death of a lie. I fold the page carefully, draw a single black line through her name wherever it appears. The room gets reset with hotel efficiency. I wash the wine glass, straighten the bed, fluff the pillows back to their artificial perfection. Leave the key card on the counter without ceremony, no tip, no note, no trace that I was ever here. "Safe travels, Mr. Callahan," the receptionist says. I nod once and walk into the dawn air, pulling my coat tighter. Not from cold, from release. The city stretches before me, full of possibilities I forgot existed when I was busy being the husband of a woman who never existed. In the distance, new light breaks over the skyline, painting everything gold. For the first time in months, I smile without her name attached to the feeling. The death of a lie, it turns out, feels exactly like being born. And that's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Your support helps the algorithm push my content further. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep creating more stories for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.